All right, well, we're rolling. We're already rolling here. So we are here at one of the most beautiful settings I've ever been sitting in. So, Adam, thank you for having us up here.
Absolutely.
Where are we right now?
We are at the moment, we're sitting in the gorgeous gazebo at the Creekside Inn, Sedona, right along Oak Creek with our friends from Sedona Beer.
Yeah, that's me.
This gal here. Yeah. Kali, thanks for joining the show.
Absolutely.
Yes. My daughter's always excited every time that I'm going to be anywhere around Sedona. She's like, "Are you going to see Kali?"
Oh.
Like it's the same name, right?
Yeah,
Same that my daughter is Kali. You say it Kali.
I do.
Kali, we say Kali.
Which I'm sure isn't confusing at all.
No. She's wait, what? No, she's 11 now. She's starting to understand it. We're getting there.
Nice.
So Kali, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
We were just talking about how, we've got, this is Darren, right?
Darren.
Excellent, Darren. Thank you for bringing us meats and walnuts.
Yep.
And shishito peppers.
Cotswold and cheap cheese.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. He's good. You were on camera, man. Now. Hey, he was focused, man. So, wow. Yeah, you're good, man. So, last time you were on the show, I feel that there was never like a women's brew or anything like that where you jumped on a mic.
No, not on them. I saw you there, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was right before you guys opened.
Yeah, the week before we opened.
Yeah. That was really cool because you had reached out to me well before you guys
Right.
open, and you guys were like, we're opening a brewery in Sedona. I'm like, hell yeah, keep me
I need
updated.
an excuse. Let's go.
Yes. And so it's been pretty incredible, and we'll talk about it, but it's been pretty incredible to see what you guys have built.
Yeah.
And I think expansion is in the future,
It
right?
is. It's in,
Not just in the family, but
Right.
also in the, in the
yeah,
brewery as well.
lots of fun things happening with the brewery. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll hear about it here. But first, cheers. Let's open this up. Kali, you are expecting,
I am.
right? Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So she won't be partaking
When are you
in her
due?
First week of November.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
November 9th. That's my birthday.
I'm due the 3rd, and
Okay.
my husband's birthday is the 4th. So I'm making a lot of jokes about I'm making a baby for your birthday jokes.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
that's the best
Yes.
present you can
Yeah.
ever get, right?
And
That
you
is.
opened Adam's favorite, so
Yeah. So that was. Yeah.
I'm sure that was on total accident.
That was. He was like nothing but this one, and then I had a horrible pour that
Well,
I just.
I'll switch you up. So I'll work it backwards.
Thanks,
I'm just here to make things happen. Let's put it that way. That's what we do.
Hey.
We just host. That's what an inn does. We're here to host.
Yeah, well, so far so good, man. This has been an awesome experience. So, and I've only been here for like an hour. Like
Oh,
I've
cool.
already showered, I've drank, I've walked down by the creek. So, this space here, how long has the inn been here, Creekside Inn?
Well, Kali can tell you. I mean, she's very much so as Sedona can get. I mean,
You are, aren't you?
I grew up here, yeah.
Yeah. I
One
love
of the
that.
12 of
Yeah.
us.
Well, so what do you remember about when you grew up? Like, what was this part of a town?
Yeah, so I didn't actually, because I grew up on the west side of town, down here was kind of a mystery. I knew it existed.
Sure.
Like, this is where a bunch of the older homesteady kind of homes are.
Gotcha, okay.
If you go down this road, you can tell that they're historically irrigated and there's lots of apples. Yeah. And so it feels like the old-timey Sedona that you can get also in, like, Jordan Park, which is up near the brewery in Uptown past us.
Okay, yeah.
But because I grew up basically as far away from here, I guess, as you can get in Sedona, like all 4 miles away.
It's a big town.
This wasn't necessarily my stomping grounds, other than knowing that down here was these like older families with, historic sites that had been here a long time.
Yeah. Which is interesting, right? Because we're trying to act like it's not here, but there's construction going on
Totally.
back there, right?
Well, as Kali will tell you, and I'll tell you, I mean, that is the sound of Sedona these days.
Yeah.
I mean, there is just a lot happening. It's been, we were really busy for a couple of years because of COVID.
Yeah.
And now we're having a nice, quiet summer, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, we were until his phone just went off.
I know. And with although we do have the tractors in the back, but so we're tucked in along the east side, as everybody likes to call this, right along the hillside at the center. You have a lot of people that like to probably booze and drink. They're going to know drinking at Mooney's right across the street. That's really
Mooney's
right.
is right. Okay, yeah.
So that's a local watering hole, and then we have six small boutique rooms, and we service the finest part of Sedona we can. We like to partner up with people like Kali here at Sedona Beer and focus on what Sedona has to offer. Here we have Creekside access. That's kind of a premium in Sedona, as most people would attest to.
Sure.
But we're close by to what's Tlaquepaque, which is a very popular place as well for shopping and dining and all the stuff of that nature. And then you work your way right into Uptown, where the current Sedona Beer has been since you opened.
Will be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Will be, yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
No. In fact, is there plans to expand?
Yeah, location 2 has
nice.
no timeline, but it is in
Okay.
process because COVID makes timelines hard.
Sure. It makes them like
But
null
we're
and void, right?
we're under construction on a second location in West Sedona, just off Dry Creek Road, which
Okay.
is like the second to last light before you're out of here. For you when you're driving towards Cottonwood.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
The light
okay.
before the high school, the one you turn on to go to Devil's Bridge.
Okay.
That
Okay.
road.
You're seeing in my eyes, and I'm not catching any.
It's
but
fine.
you're like,
Enchantment,
she keeps saying that.
Yeah,
local
yeah.
juiceries right next door. I mean, that's a big hit right
it's
there. You can
amazing how
go and
much I
get your
don't know.
juice and then get your beer. I mean,
So-
that'll be the way to roll.
We'll open up a tap room and a big patio as soon as the universe allows us to,
Yeah.
and then on the site we plan to build a brand new brewing facility.
Okay.
The goal is for the property to be carbon neutral. We're gonna run everything through electric for solar capacity, and and just really kind of build the type of brewery that we'd be proud to make our beer on. That pushes sustainability forward. That pushes our focus on local ingredients forward. What you guys are drinking is actually our Sedona Sunrise Kolsch, made with 100% Arizona grain. So you've got Sonawa malt from Camp Verde, grown at Hauser & Hauser Farm, or the Yavapai Apache Nation is now growing grain for them as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
They're doing barley and Sonoran wheat.
Okay,
And
nice.
then blue corn from Grain R&D down in Queen
Ooh,
Creek.
Yeah.
So that's all that's in that beer and hops.
Nice. What is the Celtic Knot Works?
That was so we do vintage labels, yearly vintage labels.
Okay.
And so every year we release, so that was actually 2020's vintage label. We ran out of labeled crowlers, and so we used old labels.
Hey, that is.
Didn't you just
that's
launch
great.
you have like an artist label program too that
We
you just
do, for
launched today, like a
2023.
competition.
Exactly.
Ooh,
Because
nice. I like
we're
that.
in
Yeah.
Sedona,
Yeah.
art's really important, and
For
we have
sure.
a lot of artists up here. So
And then this one was our 2021 label.
Oh, I think I have a giant glass like
Yep,
that. Yeah,
exactly.
that's
So
like
this
my
was
favorite
last
cold brew
year's.
coffee glass.
And then I don't know if I brought anything with this year's on it, which is funny because I have a lot of stuff with this year's on it. Most of our crowlers usually have the appropriate year's
Sure.
label.
Yeah. Well, I guess since I'm kind of industry, like
There
I
you
get
go.
the hand-me-downs
There
and
you
stuff. I love it though. These are like bootleg kind
So
of
yeah,
things
that's
to
a
me.
local guy. His
Yeah.
company is called Celtic Knot Works. He does some really, really cool stuff. He hangs some art in our tap room.
Nice.
So he did our 2020. And then our 2021 was done by a guy named Brian out of Flagstaff. And then our 2022 was done by an artist in town named Christine. Our 2022 label is, I'll have to send you a picture. It's awesome.
That's really cool that you do that. Like it's like not just a, hey, design a certain label. Like this is your brand for the year.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, we do merch with it. We do all our
Yeah.
crowler labels with it. We put out high-end bottles and we vintage our labels. So there's description on your bottle, but every bottle we do this year will have the same label on. The
Sure.
wine kind of idea.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And she hooked us up too.
Yo, I mean, but she also does the food along with it. I mean,
Oh,
obviously
yes,
you're sitting at,
yes.
and so we've had some food come out, and food's really important to us.
some.
We focus as much as we can up here on the farm to table. But Kali does a great food program too, which is hard to do along with great beer. I mean, a lot of people do attempt it, but she does it. She does
guys
it well.
do it well.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
As you get to munch a little bite of the shishito peppers
Oh,
that we're
those are
throwing
great.
down this afternoon.
My buddy Chris would be just like, it's anytime shishito peppers, he's like, it's his favorite spot automatically.
So we're lucky. I mean, here, as far as what we do, I mean, we are very food forward, but we focus on breakfast. That's a very primary meal for us. It's very scratch driven and localized as much as possible. As Kali will tell you, it's kind of resources sometimes are limited up here, and so you have to work with what is possible. And so some days are really a lot easier to produce a farm to table dinner than other days are, really, frankly speaking.
Interesting.
And so, but we've seemed to have found the ability to be able to do that. Our breakfast, as you'll see tomorrow, is scratched, and baked in house and all that good stuff. So we care about the chicken and the eggs that you eat, the feed that the bird's eating all the way down, much like, I mean, you're very circular with all your product, and advance, as I like to say, as it applies to the environment, which is awesome when it comes to brewing, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're really fortunate to have Sonawa Malt in Camp Verde. There's very few breweries in this country who can be like, yeah, we have a local sustainable malt house 25 minutes drive away. Like, that's a thing that you don't get to just take for granted. And what they're doing for river conservation on the Verde is just super cool. They're building a new facility.
I've heard, yeah.
It's going to be super awesome.
That's
I'm
great
really
to hear.
excited for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, anything we can do, all of our barley's grown in the Camp Verde area, gets malted in the Camp Verde area. We use it here, and then we send it with a farmer back to Camp Verde. So it just detours to Sedona.
Yeah.
Very temporarely.
So you just boil it and send it back, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
And what do they do with it? I mean, what do they do? Yeah.
They feed cows. This guy does both like beef cattle and roping cattle.
Oh,
wow.
Interesting.
And he's picked up every pound of grain we've made in 4 years.
Yeah.
Which is like pretty wild.
That is. Yeah.
He's awesome.
It's a point to know, being in the Verde Valley, a lot of people kind of hear that. And being in the Verde and the Spanish, I mean, it's important because, again, we are along the creek, and if there wasn't 12 tractors going behind us building something, you would hear the creek crackling. Hopefully at some point they'll stop.
They're building something beautiful.
Well,
and
we
hope.
certainly hope
Let's
so.
hope.
I mean, hopefully, you can't beat the beauty of the creek. But, we do have a lot of resources nearby. It's just, and I think maybe you can speak to it, Kali, because you grew up here. It's taken a full generation of people paying attention to that to now to truly try and tap into people that are farming the stuff that we need just right here in the neighborhood. Yeah. And so we look forward, at least from what we're doing, to see more stuff coming from here locally. I know, especially as it applies to food.
Yeah. I think that, when we had a lot more space, there was some more produce. Like, there was more apples and things being grown in our little valley. But now when you look down valley, Camp Verde still has a pretty significant agricultural kind of setup. And they're on the Verde River, same kind of, you want balance with the water and the resources and those kinds of things. But the Verde Valley is a really cool place that can scope a lot of resources.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so is that something you guys deal with here? Is that scarcity of resources, where you got to kind of make do with what you have rather than get what you need type of thing?
It can be from a bunch of different levels, right? Because we are rural, from the basics of our yeast delivery can be really unreliable.
Oh, interesting.
Because we aren't urban. Luckily, we haven't had malt shortages or things like that. Really, when it does, it's mostly because the malt house is like, hey, we had a batch go bad. You have to wait an extra 3 days.
Okay, yeah.
For us in beer, and then all of our hops are still sourced from the Northwest. There's not a big hop growing opportunity around us.
Sure.
Our goal is to only to purchase regional beer ingredients in the future, because Colorado's starting to pick up some hop varieties, and so is New Mexico.
Yeah.
Right now, that's not. We can't quite swing it yet.
Yeah, there's been attempts, right? There's been a few attempts.
Our fresh hops are coming from Billy Goat Hop Farm next week, which is in the western slope of Colorado. So, our side.
Yeah.
So things are happening.
Yeah.
We can get some hops that are an 8-hour drive away.
Sure. Yeah.
So we're making progress.
Yeah. They're imaginary lines anyways. They're dividing us. Right.
I'm not able to source quite as locally as Adam, just due to volume. The brew pub is its own little fun monster sometimes.
Sure.
But we definitely run with local things when we can, partner. We had this great vegan alternative meat product out of Flagstaff. Unfortunately, they were very popular, and unfortunately that ended up being the end of them.
Oh, too much. Couldn't keep up with the demand.
Yeah.
And
but it's when we can find those kinds of places to work with, it's a no-brainer. We'd much rather have a local option and deal with cost appropriately than, chase the lowest penny.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think it's something that I've always really enjoyed about. Darren keeps bringing the food out, man. Wings? Dang, is that bowl of spaghetti too? There's pasta, all kinds of stuff, man.
Well,
Appreciate it.
We're here. We got a guy, I think he's got his famous tamarind wings that are really unreal.
Oh, nice.
He does a wicked Thai lunch, and then I think he's got a little light noodle salad for us. It's kind of hard while we're eating, but I figure we'll all. I know Kali's eating for 2. I eat for 2 anyway. So
I like at least 2 to 3 people.
You guys both have daughters, so you got to eat extra to maintain the dad bod.
Indeed.
For sure. I
do.
Yes, and I do as well. I keep up with it. Yeah. Well, that's something I've always loved about Sedona Beer Company is the food and the beer has been what seems like what you guys want. Something different, right? Following your heart, following like what, all right, here's what we want to do, not like, we should make this because I think this is what people want, right? I mean, there's a combination of that. Of course. And you also, I always tell people, like, I don't need people's approval to do something, but once I do it, I want your approval.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I want you to like what I do. So how has that been? I mean, because being in a tourist town, right, you get a lot of people that are kind of used to the regular old, I guess, kind of. How has that been?
Yeah, so, I mean, it definitely can cause on-the-fly adjustments, kind of like we kind of put things out there and then we go, oh, maybe that wasn't what we should have done.
Sure.
All of the credit for our food goes to my executive chef, Marcus. Like, he is just a brilliant, kind, incredibly talented human. And one thing we really pride ourselves in the company is for hiring people who are way better and way smarter than Mac and I are, and giving them the freedom to do the things that they're better than us at.
Sure.
So he gets all that credit.
Yeah.
When he came, he made this awesome house burger, had the bacon jam on it and all these things. And then we learned this burger was just a little bit too bougie for our customer.
Sure.
And he was like, it's a great burger. I'm like, I agree. It is a great burger, but it's like, it had a very aged cheddar on it. It was delicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we learned we needed an option for our consumer that was a little more simple, and then we could elevate other things.
Okay.
So it's very much we throw things out there, and then he makes a Nashville hot chicken sandwich that is like really good, but it is like actually Nashville hot, not like we're gonna pretend like you can handle spicy food hot. Yeah. And so we have to like really warn people. And
that'd be too hot for me. I can already tell from the warning. Like if I'm getting warned, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah. No, the server's like, if someone asks us like how hot it is, we usually say, how do you order your Thai food? If you don't say 4 or 5 out of 5, then we're going to tell you not to get the sandwich.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we just we had a lot of people order that sandwich and then not have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's not the goal.
No, you want to have a good time.
Exactly.
It's Sedona Beer Company,
exactly.
Right?
So, I think it kind of ebbs and flows. He does seasonal menu changes. So we have, usually 4 big drastic menu changes a year. And that's really to follow the seasonal nature of the food we eat, and the food he has better access to. And so he gets to try a lot of things. And then in 3 months, if it's like, well, I liked this idea, but it didn't fly as well as I wanted it to, I'm going to change it, or I'm going to drop it, or I'm going to do any of those things. Yeah. So, yeah.
But you do like a burger, like a monthly burger
we
too,
do.
right?
Yeah,
like
we have
change that up.
Mm-hmm, he has a monthly burger special, which is actually a hot dog right now.
Oh, I'm not against that.
I'm in when it's a Chicago dog. Hit me up. I'm in for the Chicago dog.
Yeah, I think it's a local company. It's called Frippers. They're awesome. They use grass-fed beef from New Zealand, but the way they raise the beef and move it makes it less of a carbon impact than you can get from more conventional dogs. And so he put it out for our anniversary, which was the first weekend of August, so just about 2 weeks ago. It's got caramelized onions and honey mustard and jalapeno cream cheese and probably something I'm forgetting. Because I haven't.
I was already in. I was already trying to see where I'm going to fit that into my schedule,
exactly.
Right?
So he does a rotating special monthly to go along with the seasonal menu changes, and it gives him a lot of freedom, and it gives us a lot of fun as people who work and serve to be able to recommend new things to people who come back all the time.
Yeah.
And some people get sad when their favorites leave. Me too.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You
got to deal with it, right?
The beer's the same way with us,
But you have a very seasonal rotation in your beer, too. It's not like, you do have, obviously, thankfully, a couple classics, right? Like the Kolsch.
Yeah.
The Kolsch is
If it disappeared, Adam would riot. No, our beer, I usually tell people our beer rotates weekly. I'm not saying our 12 taps all flip every week, but usually we have 1 to 2 change a week. And we do have some pretty regular beers. The Kolsch is pretty regular. We've been getting back in. We do an all Sanawa lager, a single malt lager.
Ooh, nice.
Your pink drink's popular too.
We keep pink drink on most of the time, but we'll change the fruits.
Yeah.
Which is just like a fruit beer that usually has whatever, prickly pear, blueberry,
like
lemon.
A sour or like
it's not. It's just a fruit beer. We do usually have a kettle sour on as well, but what flavors those are will rotate, and then we usually have our porter we make pretty consistently. But other than that, you'll hit a core. We always have at least one hazy IPA. Ooh, nice, we try to always have something on the ambery side of things. You seen what else is on the
The
table?
hazy. I already saw
Okay.
it. I know.
He was like salivating for it, right? I was like,
This Kolsch is good, but I love hazy IPAs.
And you're like, I know what I
you
want.
should
Open that other
have just
can.
opened that from the get-go, and I would
No,
have.
I wanted to share this one with you, man.
Yeah.
And Kali, when you're able to, I'd love to share a beer with you as well.
Yeah,
So.
sounds good. Got a couple of months, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, the beers rotate like the food, maybe a little more often. Really, what makes all our beer consistent is we always use Sonawa for our base malt. 100% of our base malt will always be Sonawa, and we're making sure we can keep it as hyper local as possible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that helps too with, because I'm thinking when you're talking about expansion and using Sonagwa malt. I'm like, well, I hope a Sonagwa malt is expanding too, right? Because there's a
They're
wilderness.
ahead of us.
Yeah. No, that's great to hear. I think maybe it was last year at AZ Barrels, Bottles, and Brews. Is it Steve?
Yeah.
One of the guys? Yeah. So I'd met Chip a while ago.
Right.
And then I met Steve for the first time. And I think he was the one that told us about the expansion. So it's exciting because unless it's in big, like in news that people are
Right.
sharing, you don't really know the progress unless you're following up with people, right?
Right.
So it's cool to be like, oh shit,
Yeah.
Sonagwa malt's still rocking,
Yeah,
still
yeah, yeah.
rocking and still expanding. So, yeah.
Well, they're going to be really expanding because, they're going to drink your beer in kegs at the new location, right?
Oh, well, Sedona malt will just be like an industrial malt house. They just make the grain for the beer. But yeah, in our expansion, our brew house and our production
but you're going to
systems
use
will
more of
expand.
their.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
He's saying
Yeah,
they
yeah,
better
yeah.
keep
You
up
have a-
with you
Yeah, yeah.
guys.
Well, and-
let's be
and
real.
wilderness,
You
too.
like the
Yeah.
rest of us in the high season. It's hard to
Totally.
service everybody that wants to come inside the doors.
Yep,
And
it's
so,
true.
it's unfortunate, and I'm not going to say that we turn people away, but certainly by the case of how it happens in town, not everybody gets to enjoy your product. And so hopefully with you now being able to go to 2 locations, you'll be able to tap, for a lot of people, because a lot of people love to come and hike and drink beer and eat food.
Totally.
And so when you opened, though, which was well before, me being here and everything that we're doing here with my people and all that fun stuff, but there wasn't any beer. There was, but it wasn't like really where you're at with it, right? Like the food and
I appreciate that.
the forward-thinking thought and a new era, right?
And it's, it's about time Sedona, Sedona needs options, and we talked about this together, is like, the hope is Sedona grows and changes for the better over time as we do. We're a very popular destination. We got an incredible amount of tourism during COVID, and it changed the town. I don't think anyone would argue that the last 3 years have not changed the foundations of the community because of the volume change and how quickly it happened.
Yeah.
And so now the rebound is, especially as we see this taper, like, can we make it better? Both for locals and visitors, right? Because locals weren't ready for that either.
Sure.
To have, that much of an increase of tourism.
On any given weekend, sometimes we would have 30 or 40, or even on some really crazy weekends in a day trip, people would get maybe about 50,000 people to show up in town.
Yeah.
It really is the biggest little town in America from that regard, in the way that I explain it. On our little highway stretch here, we have pretty much every grocery store representative. I think sans Kroger, but we have almost every other national chain, from Whole Foods, Natural Grocer, Bash's, Safeway.
And that
They're
one
all right
stretch.
there. And if you come at a certain time on the week, the shelves are empty. It's
and the lines are backed up.
Yeah, and people, so there's a frustration, right? But
Sure.
I talked about this with some friends that I was eating with recently, and the late great travel, Bourdain and stuff. So I've been lucky to travel in some of those places on the earth where he went and, he had a great plate, and you go and you seek that great plate. And then you realize that there's been 1,100, 1 million, however many people like you trying to seek that plate. And then over time, you just can't keep that up. And so that's where Sedona's in, kind of like this push and play. And there's a couple other factors. We've had a lot of Airbnb show up in the last number of years that have been allowing the seams to kind of burst, and that brings a lot of people here, and then it takes a lot of people away that would, for instance, enjoy working at Sedona Beer or the Creekside Inn or other great businesses that we have in town. And so the next town over is not just right next by. It's not like Phoenix, where you drive right into Mesa or Chandler or whatever. You're talking driving a good 20-25 minutes down to Cottonwood. And that's the closest we get.
Yeah.
So, but it's evolving, right?
Yes.
It's evolving. And so, but we're getting more options, which is always great too, and that's the byproduct of happening with all the travel coming in.
More options as far as like, what do you mean? Like as far as like more places opening, food, beverage, all of that stuff?
I mean, during the height of COVID, and I'm gonna say just only I would know from experience of trying to make reservations, but certain reservations, let's say for food or times of the year or whatever, like it just closed.
Yeah.
Like it's not. I think COVID was really interesting. I was going to bring up this point because you were talking about growing, and I think about your business sometimes. Like you literally have your brewery on one side, right? Mm-hmm. And on you brew, like you're in this, I'm not going to say office building, but it used to be a teppanyaki hall back in the day.
It was actually a house in the 60s, and then they renovated it into the Japanese restaurant in the 90s.
Which every tourist place in the 90s needed, so you could go have hibachi steak everywhere and feel like you were certainly entertained. And they did that really well here. They're a good family, and they did really well. And so, but up here, like we started in the question about like resources and what you have. Like, I'm not gonna assume, we can ask, but like that's how she found the best of what you could find to make what you need to get your start in up here. And so a lot of people started in the last few years, and now we'll just see. I mean, this is a very normal summer for Sedona. Maybe even a little busier than normal, I would say.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's slow compared to the last. Since summer 2020 being
it's like, okay, yeah.
During COVID, our summers were slower than fall and spring as to be expected, but they were still bonkers. And this summer is like not.
Yeah.
You can get a hotel room, you can walk into a lotte rather than having a 90-day reservation.
Sure.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You definitely don't need 90 days right now.
Yeah.
But those are the, when people come and visit, I do like to warn them, if you're coming in March, April, October, or any holiday weekend, this is going to be a very different experience than if you come in August or January.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It just will be. And some people can find that really frustrating because they expect it to be a small town. There's less than 10,000 people who live here. And if you come during peak, that's just not the game.
Yeah. We're back.
Yeah.
We took a little food break. We took a little stretch break, a camera break, right?
A little camera break, a little battery change break.
Those wings are baked, by the way.
Yeah, what's up with those things? Because those
these are Chef Darren's, these are when the first time that he ever cooked with us and I had those wings, I said, these are unreal. And then he told me they were baked. And then I come to find out that Darren was the lead saucier and Wolfgang Puck and his catering for many, many years.
Dang.
And so you can taste that. And then his accompanist is Brittany, and she runs the show here, and Brittany's a fabulous chef. And so tomorrow night we're having you guys with some of you, hosting a team party for a taste of AZ. Yeah. And we're going to have you guys are going to have a nice farm to table dinner, which is an experience here that we do for our guests. It's more private. I wouldn't say that like you could. I mean, we do it for other people, but the idea is that as we were talking about, like in your location, sometimes it's really busy. And so here, if we were to open a public restaurant, as you can imagine, we'd have a lot of people waiting here and all that kind of stuff. And so that's just not the choice we made.
Yeah.
Well, we want people to be able to enjoy it like this.
I'm glad you chose me to come up tomorrow because, I always challenge people. I'm like, you're not going to find really anybody that likes food more than I do because I love food. But I've met a couple people. Through this adventure, and it's pretty incredible. But, so Adam, as you're chowing down on that wing, it was a perfect time to ask you this question.
Wingy, yeah.
So you're born and raised in California?
I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. My way through Arizona ended up at the University of Arizona in college. And made my way here. And my background is primarily in real estate and development construction. And once upon a time, our group said, hey, let's get into the game. And here we are.
Yeah.
And it's been a slow burn, the evolution, as we'll kind of get into more tomorrow about the food. And I think that's
Luke. Yeah, that's Luke and Paige.
Yep. Probably checking into the Moonstone Suite.
Yeah.
So Moonstone's pretty awesome. I think you're in the Amber Suite, which has like a cowboy theme.
Yep.
And then right on Ruby, she's an awesome food writer.
Christina's the best. Yeah, she's so cool.
Her and her husband checked into Rose Quartz. So all our rooms are a little bit different. But so when we started here, there was a family that had it 17 and a half years. They ran it really well. They raised their family here, did wonderfully. And so we started out with a bed and breakfast in the old traditional English sense, if you will.
Well, hold on, real quick. Meaning, like, this was their house. This was just their house.
They ran it. They ran it as a business. They lived just down the way in Oak Creek, where a lot of people did live at the time, where now a lot of people don't live. But then we just started doing the best that we could to make some slight, short changes, and primarily as it applies to the food, and then we redid the product inside the room that you're staying in.
Okay.
And that was, as you hear the construction in the background, and next time we meet with you at your new brewery, at your new bar, which I'm looking forward to, we can hear what her, she's got a lot of experience, so she's going to breeze right through it. But it was challenging for us with that. That was in 2018. Again, town was a little bit different 4 years ago. It's moving fast and leaping bounds in a lot of ways. So it ended up being like about 3 times the amount of time that we expected, and we had to bring some resources out that we had from other places to make it happen. But slowly people started paying attention to our product, and so our approach is very organic. We don't have any paid marketing or anything like that. That's not who we are. And so we just let everybody kind of figure out. And so we do host a lot of weddings. That's something we do. Even in COVID, couple COVID years, we did 30 or 40 weddings, which was a big deal.
Okay.
At some point, we used to do them much larger, but we do them now within size and reason for the city.
Yeah.
But we try to strive for Sedona's finest.
Yeah.
And it's the thing up here is you have to do it day in, day out. Because when people are putting in their hard-earned money into a vacation, it's got to feel magical.
Yeah.
And that experience, you're trying to deliver it, and it is a day in, day out. Like, they don't care if you have foot pain or your back hurts or whatever. They want it to taste good. They want it to look right. Sometimes, you got to really dig deep and make that happen.
Sure. Yeah. It's a tough. I mean, the service hospitality industry in itself is. It's a tough industry.
But it's amazing. We get to meet people like ourselves here sitting and doing fun stuff like this. And then we get to meet new people that come in for guests. And then we get to send them out and they say, hey, where should we eat? We love to go drink beer. And, or we like to eat burgers. Or, it's a very easy choice. So in that regard, Sedona is very reciprocal in a very small community. It's very business friendly and community. I think it's really important.
Yeah.
And you probably, you've only been here, maybe an hour now.
Sure, yeah. Maybe 2, Kali. I wouldn't.
This property isn't like a normal Sedona property to stay at.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. There are the creek access, and there are places to stay on the creek and those kinds of things. But this type of boutique, focused on local experience isn't the normal.
Sure.
When you think about Sedona, you think about the Red Rocks, you think about Devil's Bridge, you think about the hiking and outdoors. Sometimes you forget about the creek. Sometimes you forget about because where we're sitting right now, we're surrounded by these big trees, and there's water behind us, and we're not staring at this huge, expansive view, but where we are, it feels so different.
Yeah.
And very secluded and kind of in its own way. And like I said earlier, this road used to be very historic families. It was, early development. So you get a lot of that kind of early Sedona feel that you can't just get anywhere.
Sure.
This was, as the lore goes, this was the house where the dairy barn folks lived, and next door, the family that has the family home there for many, many decades. That was the actual Sedona dairy barn where they milked the cows. Now, people homesteaded, and so if you ever see things along Sedona, and so a couple things that people don't realize is that the apple tree is kind of synonymous with Sedona because that was the original fruit that was farmed here for pay. It wasn't just that's what they turned into money and the first thing out. So people moved up here for water, and imagine living in Tucson in the summer without any air conditioning in the 1800s, and one of your neighbors says, hey, we took this 55-hour journey north and it's cold and there's water to jump into, and you're like, yeah, I'm out. But down our road here we do, and we still have one token apple tree here.
Okay.
Nice.
But there's a famous local dude that makes apple cider, so apple cider is kind of a thing in Sedona, right? Apples are a thing, apple butter, things relating to apple. The apple's important to Sedona, I'd say.
You come up in the fall, you can buy apples in the canyon, on the side of the road.
Okay, I never knew that.
If we don't have a late freeze.
Okay.
If we have a late freeze, which we might have had this year, do you know? How's your tree doing?
Well, it's actually just coming in, so we did.
Okay.
You're right about that, and his are just red.
Yeah.
But the one thing when you get into the weather that we've had this year for the first time that we haven't had for a number of years is a wonderful monsoon season.
Totally.
And so as we sit here in
Everything's
the
so
creek,
green.
I mean, again, you brought up the climate difference. We have a little microclimate even along the creek. So if you're up hiking with our guests or people that are coming into town, it may be a 10 or 15 degrees warmer up on the hike than when you get back down in the creek.
Yep.
Sure.
And so our thing is that as you drive around town, a lot of people do the Adobe really well in town, we like to say, but that's not our thing. We're real rustic. The way that we look at Sedona is it's like we're kind of like the ski town where the snow never melts. We have like 365 days of sunshine and fun.
Sure.
Even if it's raining, there's things to do here. So, we like that aspect, and that's what we want to offer to people. And breakfast is hard to get in this town. Coffee's hard to get. Although now, 3 years ago, there was like one coffee place, then there was none, and now there's 6. So we'll see what it would be like in 2 years again. So that's why we say it's like bed and breakfast, and then we send people out to eat because there are so many great options. And so dinner's hard to deliver on a night and a night out basis. And so for us, we also, to flip it back to the things that matter, like we're able to deliver most of the time a better quality of life to our staff because there's not a nighttime element. But then again, we do a lot of special dinners and stuff. They enjoy that just as much.
Yeah, sure.
So, but
especially when it's cool with cool people, right?
Well, it's
always
also, I
helps.
guess,
Sure,
the
that
freedom
helps.
of the food, right?
Yeah.
And the flexibility. I mean, there's no real menu. Darren's the executive chef. I mean, sometimes he and I will talk about what's going to happen, but primarily, I think for the dinner you're doing tomorrow night, I think right now he threw our food down, and I think he's at the farm. Literally.
Yeah.
And I think Christina asked me what to bring up for wine potentially, and I said, all I know is it's not going to be seafood because we don't have any seafood nearby here, although sometimes we can catch the occasional trout back here and fly fish. You do have direct access, and I think even on our Instagram we have a guy who went out and caught a fish, and he took a video of it, and we've had it happen quite a bit.
Yeah.
But there's like the fly fishing experience here. There's the mountain biking experience, and then slowly as town comes together, there's starting to be more formalized stuff. Like we do really well with the yoga festival. The mountain biking festival was huge this year. We'll see what other things I think they had a scooter competition last year too at the skate park.
The skate park with like the world's best views. Have you been over there?
No.
Do you know where Posse Grounds the park is? It's where did you go to Mountain Bike Fest ever?
No.
Okay, you should come up. The beer garden's great.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd love to.
It's
I'd love
super
to come
fun.
to all the
All the
festivals you guys are
things.
naming. Yeah. I'm like,
All
I'm
the
in.
things.
I'm in.
Well, the beer garden is where I am at.
Yeah, for sure.
Bike
That's where I would
festival.
be as well. Yeah, I
Exactly.
would join you.
It's like
yeah.
food trucks, and you're like,
Yes.
cool, there's bikes here, but I'm going to go get beer.
I'm not mad. I'm not exactly a bike body type of guy, right? 280. That's not really.
But yeah, there's a skate park up at Posse Grounds, along with a pump track for mountain bikers, and the view is like literally 360. It is. I went to the elementary school that's right there, and when I came back as an adult, I was like, this was our view from elementary school? Like, this is wild.
Yeah.
And so the skate park is just like,
That's really cool.
yeah, and the pump track and all. There's a
Yeah.
concert venue. They do summer concerts on Fridays. The city does up at that concert venue.
Kali's awesome though. She contributes a lot to the community, not just, from her brain power, which is, as she's going to have a child too. She's going to be a great mom, and but as far as not just in her business, I know from her current employees, previous employees that we've met, just a great reputation in that regard, and so that speaks volumes. But she gives a lot to the city. She's on so many different boards and things like that matter.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
Thank you, Adam.
loves compliments too. Right?
Thanks, Adam.
We should always.
He's my hype man. I'm gonna bring him with me
you
everywhere.
absolutely should. Absolutely
I'm gonna do
should.
it.
No, I think that's incredible. I've always been a big fan of you and Mac personally, and your brand as well. And I know you guys do a lot of there's so much thought that goes into it, right? It's very deliberate, right? In a good way, as far as I don't know, just representing the good things in life.
Yeah,
you
and the
know?
beer community sets you up so well for that.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
The reason we're in the industry is because the beer community likes those types of things.
Yes. Yeah.
They
absolutely.
like community support. We
Yep.
like supporting each other. It's very collaborative. We did a collab brew with Huss this morning.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so I
Heck
have no
yeah.
idea
If
what
I
they
would have
brewed.
known that, I would have asked you to bring me some of their Scottsdale. I love their Kolsch too. They have a great Kolsch too. I drink that heavily. I like that as well.
You're a Kolsch guy?
I do.
Yeah,
I like light beer. I mean, I guess when I was a bit younger, I drank a lot more heavier on the beer. Now I've transitioned more to spirits, which is kind of a light category up here. Not a lot of people doing spirits yet. It's kind of hard to do in the state of Arizona. And I like the wine. But of note, to go with beer, there's a plenty of wine and beer couples together. I mean, this area is booming for Wine Town.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that more with Christina tomorrow, because obviously she writes the wine book for Arizona, and she's part of the Somm Journal. But the Verde Valley just received its American Viticulture Association a certified terroir.
Yeah.
So that will add value. People can distinguish their wine. So what we're going to see is a plethora more of wine tourism coming into town here, because it's a short 10 or 15-minute drive to Page Springs. I know you've seen in the last 2 or 3 years, there's a tremendous amount of wine tour businesses popping up. And so what they'll do is they can pick people up in the valley, drive them up for the day, and drive them back down, and it's quite an experience. But there's not a lot of wine up here. That's kind of the problem. A lot of our local wineries, they don't have it.
Yeah.
So you go there and you can only get wine by the glass.
Meaning, I see what you're saying.
All the grapes are in
Like
southern Arizona.
Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They'll bring in grapes from Wilcox and those kinds of places. They do grow it on
Estate.
and but volume is a
For sure.
And then there's the school. Yavapai College has the winemaking program that's been nationally recognized to be really good, and they just opened last year, or maybe it's been a year and a half. They have a brewers program
And
too.
they have a culinary program too, where actually I believe a very good chef is now she's running it and doing a phenomenal job. And we try as best as we can to collaborate with them, because sometimes, let's say they want to learn how to make a sauce or whatever, we go in there and throw some time too. Darren used to be the executive chef of the Verde Valley School, which is actually one of the. It's very close by. It's a. I guess I would say a boarding school.
It's an international boarding school.
But it's an international school, but it's world renowned, and they have big deals. But things are anyway. Back to it. Things are changing up here in Sedona, and we have a lot happening, and so to have a brewery where Sedona beers started where they were, and then you're going to go to the next location. It's going to be awesome, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
We'll have to see me a week before that opens too.
but you won't find us. You won't find us in our second location in Sedona. We're here to stay.
Okay, all right.
This and this is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I also like too when I first got here and you were taking me around. This is me and my wife's. This is what we love. We don't want to. We want to check into somewhere really nice. Just feel. I mean, the room smells amazing. The shower, what do they call that?
The rain shower.
That just made my
the
day.
high vaulted ceilings.
Yeah.
The gas fireplace.
But the privacy.
Yeah,
right?
it's no offense to the little one on the way, but it is adults only, with the exception of weddings.
Okay.
We do want to deliver that experience for people, and we do want some romance in the air. We do want check-in hour to be fun for people. I mean, you're spending your hard-earned money and coming up here, but and it was alluded to. We talked about it a little bit, but yeah, we're trying to deliver a quality tourist to a quality tourist town.
Yeah.
And we're not after everybody up here at our little place, but we're after the people that are after what we're after.
Yeah.
Right. And eventually we all find each other, right? Whoever.
Totally.
I mean, look at all of us sitting together here in this
Ah,
beautiful
for sure.
place.
I'm with you. My husband and I love boutique hotels that are just special in their own right and are a little more private.
Yep.
I feel like that's that, and maybe it's just a demographic thing, but that Airbnbs were cool for a minute, but now they feel real weird.
Yeah.
And I don't want to stay at a Marriott either, so.
I say
There we
that,
go.
but I have to give.
Creekside Inn.
As much as I am a hotel guy, I am a hotel guy. I mean, I have a kid, and when I want to go away, I want to have a kitchen and 2 bedrooms. So there is a balance, and I've seen a lot of hotels now that offer both of those, right? Like maybe one day you see a casita here or this, that, and the other. You don't know. I mean, we have all this space and different things. We have a very friendly city to work with when it comes to zoning and trying to make things happen. So we don't know what we'll do here. We know we host events. We may have a couple more rooms, but as I said, it's been a slow burn for us. We've learned a lot in the burn. And so we don't want to all of a sudden, I mean, if we were bigger, much bigger, we'd have a lot more to kind of run, and so.
Sure.
We're enjoying the process most of the time.
Enjoy the process. Hey, you know what? That was one of the first things that I learned when I, took this leap to do this thing full time. Is like you gotta love the process. Like you gotta like whether it's a athlete or like because you're in the process 95% of the time. Game time's like 5%, right? Like you're just building and working on those skills and repetition. So. I'm in. Like whatever you're selling, dude. I'm in. I'm just kidding.
I'm down. I like that. We'll roll out the dotted line.
You're gonna go put your feet in the creek in a little
I'm
bit.
gonna, yeah, for sure. Like,
Oh, you gotta jump in the water.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
creek.
I'm
I mean,
gonna.
we
I
do
didn't bring
have,
swim
we do
trunks,
have
but-
direct creek access through
Yeah.
there.
Who cares? You don't have it's the creek.
Jump in.
All right. Well,
in.
if you guys get
It's
caught,
not that
calls from the
deep.
police.
Also,
Yeah,
I don't know what
could-
you're imagining about jumping in.
But you will smell like creek water afterwards, so expect that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'll be honest with you. I don't promise I'm gonna jump in there, but I might put my feet in.
You could float. You could. I mean, the float.
I don't float. That's what my mother-in-law is. One of her greatest claims to fame. She always tells people, "I can float."
Nice.
She's like, "I can float." Like she.
That's a good skill.
It is. It
Yeah.
is a good skill. Yeah. Well, all right, guys. We this was incredible. Kali, thank you so much
Totally.
for bringing the beer. We are enjoying. This is the Desert Trip
Yep.
Hazy. Fantastic.
And of course, her
The
Kolsch.
Kolsch.
Yeah.
The Kolsch. Now, we also have been enjoying this. We got to give a shout out to JesseLee's. All right, so you have, you're in Sedona. You want some great craft beer and some great food to go with it. Sedona Beer Co.
No doubt.
Right? If you want to
She
go to a
also
bottle
serves
shop.
it to go too. She could get growlers.
Well, yeah,
she
to
go,
cans it,
yeah.
everything right
Yeah.
there. And literally most of the time, if you come and order it to go, well, maybe not now, but for many years, the person that actually put it in your hand was yours truly.
It was
she's
me for a long
recorded
time.
it.
It's not.
Wait, yours truly. I'm like,
Her-
you?
it's
Yeah,
hers
yeah.
truly,
Hers
excuse me.
truly.
There you
Yeah, not as much anymore, but it was
Yeah.
a long time. But if you need like packaged, if you want Arizona craft and some like really niche other craft, taking the drive to what we call it the village.
Yeah.
Village?
But the village of Oak Creek is
Yeah.
the whole sentence.
Yeah.
Or the VOC.
VOC.
The VOC. Oh, I
When
like
I say
that.
when I say the village and people don't live here, they're like, what are you talking
Yeah.
But it was a village for a while. It was easier to live
So
in. And
from here, it's probably under 10 minutes to get to the
8
village.
minutes, really
yeah.
door to door. Yeah.
And JesseLee's has got a great craft beer selection. He always makes sure he keeps it cold. He's
Yeah.
he's watching for the quality and then natural wine.
Yeah, he's got a wine club. He's got a book club. So the other thing is, though, I mean, even aside from that, for many years we've been partners with them. So when you come in here, there's actually a menu if you saw in
That's
your
what I was
room.
gonna say, yeah, I
and
wanted
you
to
can
talk
text
about that.
them, and they deliver it directly
awesome.
to our door. And they've been doing that. So a lot of times now, for the last few years, like, they actually have access to come in here and just they leave it, and so we know when somebody's checking in and we coordinate and we actually put that beer already in their fridge.
Yeah.
We do
Oh,
hope
I
to
like
get to
that.
a place later on where obviously you could pull in and just crack your own beer, but
Mm-hmm.
people don't always want to have what you have. They want to get what they want to get. So we have
Sure.
this really neat online ordering system with them, and the best part about Sedona is everyone's really friendly and they bring it by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you-
Brittany's kids kindergarten teacher
Mm-hmm.
is I mean, they're like Brittany, who runs our place. That's, I mean, his wife is her
JesseLee.
kindergarten. Yeah, she's the kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Just Brian's wife.
Yeah, is a
Okay.
kindergarten teacher.
Oh yeah, that's.
But that's
So
Sedona.
Sedona.
I love it though, right? Because that adds into the hospitality aspect of it, right? Like when I have okay, so I stay at Creekside Inn. This is great. I look around the property like this is awesome. Go into the room like, dude, this is fantastic. And then I get somebody to deliver me liquor, and it's some shady dude. I'm like, what the hell, right?
Yeah.
But it's Brian or Brittany or somebody from JesseLee's,
Yeah.
and that's another connection that you
Right.
make, right? It's another piece of that because you're meeting that business owner, right?
Yeah.
You're meeting them to whether they drop it off or I don't know.
And if you love craft beer and natural wine, it's a worthwhile stop. It's
sure.
not this like giant mega craft beer mart like you can get down in the
Yeah.
valley that probably has some really coated beer on the shelf.
Really, yes,
You know
for
what
sure.
I mean?
Yep,
You're not
yep,
checking every date.
Yep.
But you walk in and you tell Brian what you want, and he will make sure you walk out
Yeah.
with what you want. And he has plenty of variety, but the quality is, when we do sensory panels, we make it'd be much closer to drive to Whole Foods. We're not gonna.
Yeah.
We're gonna drive out to Brian's and pick up beer
Yeah.
for sensory because we know it's been stored right. We know that like when we're doing those kinds of things, it's, if we're testing for things, we want a beer that we at least are hopeful in its form is exactly how it came out of the brewery.
Absolutely, yes. And that was one thing that I learned in my journey of craft beer and experiencing craft beer and people talking shit about, oh, the brewery sucks, this and that. I'm like, all right, first of all, most of the stuff you get off the shelf is jacked up. That is not what that brewery, that's not a representation of what that beer is. Right? Unless you're...
It's also like corned up.
The what?
Corned up, as I say.
Some of the bigger ones.
Corned up. Too much corn?
I mean, any corn, right?
Yeah.
I mean...
Oh, the corn. Well, what is
Like
that? The sweet corn?
the corn
like
syrup.
Corn syrup. Yeah,
yeah.
macro loggers will use it as a fermentable.
And they've
Yeah,
snuck
yeah.
it into a lot of the microbrews they buy, too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they buy craft brands.
Yeah, they sneak it in there, and then they change the formula.
But with those ones, you can be
So
sure.
don't sell out, okay? Stay Sedona for life.
Adam is a...
AB InBev's are buying like farms now. They're over us little
yeah,
brewers. They just
for
want
sure.
like malt farm, like barley farms and hop farms now.
Yeah.
That's their new.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Really?
So controlling the supply chain.
Yeah.
It's very smart of them.
Yeah.
But with those big beers, you can always trust that the beer you have here will taste the same as the one you have in Milwaukee because they have systems in place to make sure that beer that sits on shelves and is abused doesn't change.
For
Whereas
sure.
smaller brewers, there is a lot to be said for holding temperature and keeping out of sunlight and all these things. And once it leaves your brewery, you have no more control of it. So when your distributor
Yeah.
picks up or you drop off, you have to let go of knowing what that beer is going to taste like when it's opened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crapshoot at that point, right? Yeah.
I mean, you hope.
For
Especially
sure.
in a hot
Yeah,
state.
you
I mean,
hope.
look at a hot
Yeah.
state like Arizona. Hoping people keep your beer. I mean, it's one thing if we're in Flagstaff, but as it slowly goes south, I mean, it's about every 25 miles it's going up a degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
it's a must stop. JesseLee's is by far a must stop.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. All
Great
right.
guys.
So you're if you're at Creekside, you can order directly. They'll deliver it to you. There's that's what I liked when I walked right in the room. There was already a card in there telling me how to do that.
Yeah, we leave it like the thing about here is the last plug I'll make for our situation is that I mean we want it to feel like home, like make it easy, right? Like we put water in there for people to drink. Like it shouldn't be like you wake up. I like to drink liquor, so it shouldn't be like I wake up at 2 a.m, a place where I'm feeling the wall to try and find the bathroom sink, and you're like underneath, and it's like a trickle, So
Lucky if you find the sink, right? It's usually a shower for me.
it's the little things. You come in from a long drive. There's going to be a little snack in your room, so
Yeah.
you're a little famished. Then you can kind of get your mind straight and get out there and get over to Sedona Beer.
Yeah.
Do that kind of stuff.
I don't know. Like, it's the small things in life I love. When I walked in that room, the smell just blew me away.
Wonderful.
I told my wife, I'm like, this is like one of the coolest hotel rooms I've ever been to.
Did
I
you
said,
leave her at home?
I did with the kids. She's like, I should have came with you, right? Because I'll be honest with you. I was like, all right, Adam Goldberg. All right, either this is the crazy guy from Saving Private Ryan,
What if I was to tell you? What if I was to tell you that was my cousin? So that was
Is
my
it really?
dad's cousin, first cousin's son.
Really?
But he's Adam Charles Goldberg, and I'm Adam Daniel Goldberg.
And what about Goldberg's Adam Goldberg?
Well, you're talking about like the wrestler Gold, or are you talking about the real from the Goldbergs?
From the
They
Goldbergs,
have
yeah,
this
yeah.
big feud going.
That's
but
what's
no.
yeah.
I am so
my-
not understanding that. I don't know.
My actor Adam
Luke, my
Goldberg.
business partner, I tried to explain. I'm like, dude, this guy's name's Adam Goldberg. He's
Yeah.
like, so what? I'm like, dude, the celebrities. He doesn't know. Yeah, so.
But they did do something really dope from a marketing perspective when they released that sitcom, The Goldbergs.
Yeah.
Every person named Goldberg in the United States of America, they sent us a DVD of the trailer.
Yeah.
So you got it in the mail, and you're like, "This is awesome!"
That is
It was
badass.
like if you had to show the Smiths,
Yeah.
and he sent out 50 million DVDs of the Smiths. All 50 million of those Smiths are gonna watch it when it comes out the first week.
Dude,
it's gonna
that's
get
brilliant
you through pilot
marketing.
season.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So anyway, that's
Well,
the-
so I was a little bit. That's why I didn't invite my wife. I'm like, I might be getting catfished by one of the Adam Goldbergs. I don't know. And then for some reason,
But that
I
would have
don't
been a
know-
good story, though,
That
too.
would have been. Oh, that's why I was in. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going. I'm seeing this thing through. And then I had emailed you something just a couple days ago, or no, it was about a week ago, and it responded and it said like, this email does not exist. I'm like, dude, I'm getting catfished. I'm getting catfished right now. And it's.
I have 4, 5, 6 different email addresses in my phone, and sometimes it sends from one place or the
Right.
other, and
Yeah.
So anyway, as long as it
I
says
love that.
Adam,
Well, also, I mean, this is probably the beer drinking, the beer talking, because I'm revealing a lot of my secrets. But I Googled his number and it said like Los Angeles, California. I'm like, what the hell? Like this is happening.
And if you really see my number come up, it doesn't even have my own personal name on it. It does happen to have someone else's name on it. So, but I mean, realistically, I'm not here, and that's the last thing I'll say. I'm not here for me. I'm here for what we're doing, the project, the process that we're after. I mean, it's a nice opportunity. You like to drink beer, to bring you up with your friends, get a team party going, bring the best beer in town, and let her showcase her thing. I mean, the way that we say it is that we are all artists up here in Sedona in one fashion or another. People are artists in different ways. This happens to be our canvas here at the Creekside Inn, so we just invite people in to come and paint as much art as they can. Like, yours is talking about beer, hers is making the beer. You know what I mean? And ours is, you know. So let's have fun. That's what we like to say.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Well,
cheers.
One last shout out. Let's give a shout out. So JesseLee's did this glass with Marcus. I think it's Craft Beer Deez's, I think is how you say it. Marcus, sorry if I jacked it up. It's Deezaz.
He'll shoot you a glass for the next one so you can say it real easy. Right?
Well, so he does these really cool. He did one with like the Chicago Bulls, like Jordan, Pippen. I think it was like 3 of the Bulls, and their heads were hops. They did one. He's done quite a few of them. Really cool art. So I think it's really cool that JesseLee's does a collaboration glass, and JesseLee's hooked us up.
Yeah, and I know he's starting to partner with some local restaurants to do some like natural wine food pairing.
Nice.
And so
he sent us over. He's got this one. This Natties and Patties. Have you seen
Natties and Patties? What a great. Farmagogo.
It's a place in Cornville. It's really awesome. They catered our holiday party this year, and they do all farm to table. They have a farm. They grow hops in their greenhouse. And last time I saw them, they're like, "Hey, do you want these? We don't know what to do. They just grow in here." And I'm like, "Sure."
It's a really good chef-driven restaurant and a place that you would never think. I mean, it's like in the
100%.
heart of McCain country.
Okay.
And you would never think that it would be there, but it is right there.
So I first met Brian within a year of starting the podcast. So this was in probably 2017, and I was going to SIP to do a podcast, and somehow like it fell through like as I was there, like sitting at the bar. I remember exactly what happened. My wife and I were there. Oh, no. Let me reboot this a little bit. That is what happened. Yeah. We go there, go to do the podcast. For some reason, we couldn't do it, but really hit it off with the bartender, the guy, he was the manager behind the bar, beer knowledge guy. And I'm like, dude, that guy was really cool. Then see him a few times over the years and didn't really know his name or anything, but just knew him to see him. Like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? Right? And then realized that he's the guy who owns JesseLee's. And I'm like, dude, he brings a lot to... Like, I mean, this right here, it shows, like, I mean, partnered up with a local restaurant, partnered up with you guys.
They were aggressive with that, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like it just was like, I mean, you have to be aggressive in Sedona to win.
I'm pretty sure this art is the same artist who did our 2022 logo.
Oh, really?
I think it is.
Nice.
Yeah, she does a lot of art for him, too, because she's really talented.
Yeah.
It's a small town. I mean, it is and it isn't. It takes a while to get from one side to the other some days.
Yeah,
some days.
Yeah, when there's a lot of people here, it's only we've only got one major road.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta take your time.
Relax. Just relax.
There's lots to look at.
Yeah.
Where are you in a rush to get here?
Yeah.
That's what we say to people. You'll get there when you get there.
That's true. Well, I mean, that's kind of the vibe of this place, anyways, right? Like I know when we're coming up the hill and I get off that exit and I start to kind of make that turn and I see the hills and I just roll the window down. I'm like, hell yeah. Like I'm not in I'll be honest. I sometimes am in a hurry and I'm like, why are these people going so slow? Right?
But when you live and you work in it, sometimes it is a vortex and it sucks you in like a vacuum.
Yeah.
There are days and weeks where you'll wake up and you'll be like, where did that go?
I feel like that's where this evening's going to go. I'm already a full, 32 ounces into
a
You should. Yeah. You're on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
There's more beer
you're
in
playing
the
working.
plenty more, yeah.
And there's wine,
she really
too.
hooked us
You
up.
have Cove Mesa that hooked you up, too, in there.
Cove Mesa, shout out to them.
Yeah, they hooked you guys up with some wine. I think they have some rosé. They're doing some fancy things down there. About to open their tasting room. Yeah. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, right next to Farmagogo in Cottonwood.
I don't know.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah. It's on like the main road, right?
Again, we'll find out. I haven't been down there in a couple weeks, but
So it's as you're coming, like if you're coming off.
it's on
Page,
Cornville Road, right?
You're coming off Page Springs, and it comes to like a T, right?
You make a right.
You make a. Well, I would go left to go to back to Phoenix.
right.
Right. It was like directly across the street.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that intersection is Cornville Road and Page Springs Road.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it was right there.
There's a
And-
couple cool restaurants right
There is that
so-
little corner has become quite a little
Yeah.
cool place.
yeah, there was a few places. Like there was. I can't remember. One of them started with a G, maybe.
Yeah, cheeseburgers.
Yeah, cheeseburgers. That's our
It
second.
literally
It
started
starts
with
with
a
a
G.
G. It's the first word.
And there's the there. What's the mesquite grill? The
Oh, Manzanita?
Yeah.
That's been
Oh,
there since I was a
Manzanita.
kid.
yeah.
I've heard that place is. Like,
I mean,
that's
that
one
is
of the
really
places
where.
that-
I mean,
yeah.
no. I mean, that is McCain's Ranch is right there. I mean, that
He's
is
down
their
on
country.
page-
They're right there in Cornville. So
I
that
didn't
was
know
where-
exactly what you meant by McCain's.
No, he-
McCain Country. No,
McCain
this is-
Country. So
I mean,
what
it's
it-
literally as the crow throws down this creek, they have a home on the creek. What, 2-3
Yeah,
miles
off
down
Page
the
Oh,
road.
Springs
gotcha,
Road. They have a
okay.
Yeah.
big,
Yeah. A big.
yeah.
Complex.
It's when he died, that's where they brought
Yeah.
him out of. So we had the whole convoy, and they live on a dirt road, and they had this whole convoy of like Secret Service on the way out. It was wild. Closed down the highway.
Very well liked politician up in these parts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very well liked. Did a lot for people up here. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a small town. Anyway.
Adam's like, hey, that's a whole new. You got how much is on the memory card?
Different podcast.
Let me go put my suit on.
No, dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome in, welcome in.
I truly can't thank you enough for putting us up in this place. This place is incredible. My wife is very jealous.
Well,
Now
we'll
you'll
have
have
to
to
make
come
it
back.
again.
Yeah.
There you go. So you're like, hey,
Yeah.
spending my money like that,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And Kali, thank you. Thank
Totally.
you for the beers, and just it's great to see you again, and congratulations to you and Mac on the expansion of the business and the family.
Thanks.
Yes, you guys are great people, so I
Keep crushing that Kolsch.
hell
Yeah, man.
yes. And this hazy IPA too. This is
You'll
fantastic.
have to come up. We have 2 others on tap right
Yeah?
now that you didn't
Okay.
get down here. So
All right, I'll be honest with you. My plan was to come up and have lunch at your place, but coming through right down by it's not. It might be Oak Creek. There's a Colt Barbecue.
yeah.
Yeah,
Village,
they-
that's the Village of Oak Creek. This is the
oh,
thing
the
we're
VOC.
talking about.
That's the VOC.
Yeah, the
Okay,
village.
yes.
They do a
and
nice
it was,
job. Colt's really good.
They
That's
did
their
a
third
really good
location.
job,
They
yeah.
open in Prescott, and they have 2 in
Cottonwood.
Prescott.
Yeah, maybe Prescott Valley, Cottonwood.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
They had a lot of uphill. Like Sedona gave their best.
County.
Again, yeah.
County, because it's
I'm
not
not
outside
saying
of city
city.
limits.
I'm saying Sedona's
Oh,
energy.
the humans.
You're not just fighting city and county.
yeah.
You're fighting Sedona herself here. And I'm saying Sedona
that.
really pushed them to the limit there to get that open. And it took a lot.
Why?
They went through.
because of the
They
because
were
of
open for
barbecue?
like a week, and then some things happened, and then they were closed for almost a year, and now they're open again, and everybody's
yeah.
thrilled they're open. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. It was fantastic. Like it was like, I have a friend, my buddy who loves the shishita peppers. Like he loves food, but everything's either like the best thing ever or like the worst thing ever. So there's nothing in between. But he talked about barbecue, and I recommended him to an Arizona place for barbecue. He's like, dude, this place is terrible. Brisket's dry, this and that. I'm like, dude, all right. So we go to Austin in like 2019, and I'm like, oh shit, okay,
Now you know what
I
barbecue
get
is.
it, I get it, yeah, and it is, and I'm just kind of I love food in general,
Right.
so like I'm not real picky. Like if it's a little dry, I just throw a little more sauce on it, right? But when you start to get that higher quality, and yeah, and so when we went to Texas, I'm like, oh shit,
I'm
okay.
about to wheel the smoker
Reevaluate.
out
Yeah.
after this conversation. We're gonna go get ourselves a half a hog or
We,
something.
we traded construction noise for cicadas.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that though.
Yeah,
That
that's
is-
a better noise than
for sure. That's much more what I would expect from this background.
Sedona.
But the video is off now. But
Nah,
that's all right.
that's all right.
That's only because of laws. But but anyway, shout out to Colt Grill. Excellent food. The staff was fantastic, and they had all but one of their beers was local.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they
they're
had,
good about that.
Yeah, Smelter Town. I didn't see a Sedona Beer Co. You need to get
Yeah,
that
man.
shit locked down, man.
She doesn't, I mean, can you make enough to
No,
put it in
that's-
people's restaurants?
That's why it's not places.
Yeah, no.
just
Wait
for-
until
it's just
that's
for
why I
us.
said they better have
yeah.
enough grain because she's
Yeah.
gonna keep that
Yeah,
place
people
open
like-
24/7
Like,
making
can I
the
have
juice.
kegs for my restaurant? I'm like,
No.
can I have kegs for
Yeah.
my restaurant?
Yeah. So have you had any kegs go outside the?
Mostly just for special eventy
Okay.
kind of things,
Yeah.
or collaborations, but other than that, I tell people you can't get our beer unless you're in our building right now. And it's meant, we brew it for that reason. Like, it's beer for here, for sitting on our patio, looking at the view.
Yes.
You know, and when you come back, it'll be different.
Yeah.
But it'll still be what it's for right in that moment.
Yeah.
Do you envision it always being like an experiential consumption base? Like, you're not going to go put it on the shelf in the grocery store. You're still going to have to come and get it from you.
Yeah, I don't have big distribution dreams. Okay. I've always wanted to be directly to the people. Part of the beer community that I love is the community aspect. And distribution brewing is a whole different game that I'm not super interested in playing. I like my little hometown brew pub and, you know, those kinds of things. I'll keep it to keep control of the product, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm thinking as you're talking about that. I picture, right, you know, you do different labels for each year.
Yeah.
Right? You go into a store and you're like, that's my IPA from 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Someone's going to, I'm buying this shit and I'm throwing it away because someone's going to get that and they're going to say, I hate IPA, Sedona Beer Co.
Yeah.
Dude, that thing's 2 years old, right? But they're not going to throw it away. This place is, wherever it is, they're not going to throw away product, right? So I dig that. I like that. Let's, you know, they distribute a little bit outside of their brewery, but like Pedal House. Pedal House does. I love Doc. Doc he's one of the unsung heroes in Arizona beer. You know,
he cares about quality for sure.
For sure.
And I just went to his new. Last time I was in Phoenix, I went to the new on Roosevelt. Was it Roosevelt?
I'm
really bad about Phoenix geography.
Well,
Don't ask me any questions.
Roosevelt downtown. It was a downtown. Yes.
Yeah, we went. Probably a week or two after they opened, kind of on accident.
Yeah.
And it was a blast.
How was the beer? Oh, well, that's the combination, right? You have Julian that brings in the restaurateur, the entertaining people, creating a space that is just naturally creating energy. And then it comes through with like, oh, shit. This might be one of the best Pilsners I've ever had.
Yeah, so I don't know, but Mac said it was great.
Mac, if you're listening, please call in. And, yeah. But
that's the game I'm in right now. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. You know, I mean, we could. I've got 7 hours of a memory card on this thing. Maybe not on the video, but something that I've been seeing a lot lately is non-alcoholic drinks.
Yeah,
totally. I've been smashing.
We were talking about this yesterday. It's funny.
Seltzer waters with hops in them. So there's Hop Splash from Sierra Nevada. There's one from Lagunitas. The hop teas from Hoplark.
Yeah.
My jam.
Mocktails.
Are those the
too.
cans?
We've been
like
seeing a lot of
the matte label.
Yeah. If you haven't tried those hop teas, they're out of Boulder. They're super good.
So they're holding you over for now.
Yeah, and Hop Splash from Sierra Nevada just came to market, and I'm really into those as well.
Yeah,
it's nice to be like able to taste hops and be like, this is good.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how many. Like, I think there's definitely a lot of people who are choosing other alcohol options, and so, you know, for people who love hops, who want an NA option, your options are growing really rapidly. Yeah. Which is awesome. You know, I'm not sure how much the market is for like pregnant ladies for hops seltzers, but for me, it's been great.
Nailed it. That is a target market, right? So, you know, just got to find more of Kali's, right? Yeah. But no, well, thank you guys so much. This has been incredible. That sound is much better than what we started with.
Totally.
That's what we're after.
Keep
Sedona beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. We had somebody actually go cut the engine lines of the machinery down
Perfect.
there. I'm just kidding.
No work for tomorrow either.
Wait, Adam freaked out. He's like, you can't say that. You can't record that.
Well, you know, you can say whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Hey, welcome to the Creekside Inn. Welcome to Sedona.
Boom. Take that microphone out and drop it, man.
There you go.
Thank you guys so much. Food was incredible. Chef Darren, incredible food. Those wings, love those. Just nice job here. Sedona is in good hands, I think, with you guys. For sure.
Appreciate it.
Welcome in.
All right. Well, I'm almost out of beer. So
there's more in the room.
Go back to the room.
Please, awesome. Thanks, guys.